Alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today we're going to do topic 2 of Unit E, which is Earth's frozen water. So we're going to mostly talk about glaciers, what they are, how they are formed, and what kind of landforms they lead to. So first, we're going to start off by defining what are glaciers. So glaciers are large moving masses of ice and snow that become compacted together, and they create a heavy pressure. They create a heavy packed weight, which creates pressure that gradually compresses ice crystals into super thick glacial ice. Okay, there are different types of glaciers. I have here a few videos. I'm going to post them onto Google Classroom. I'm not going to play all of them while I'm presenting because I want to keep the presentation short. And also, there's a bit of an echoing sound when I play the videos. So I'm going to just avoid playing all of them here. But I really encourage you to make sure that you play them for yourself. So first type is continental glacier. So a continental glacier is one which covers majority of the continent, an example of which would be Greenland or Antarctica. Here's a satellite picture of a continental glacier. Another kind of glacier is going to be an ice valley glacier. So an ice valley glacier basically forms between mountain ranges. Another is going to be an ice cap glacier. An ice cap glacier is found in places like Iceland, and basically what it is it's just ice and snow covering a large area of land. Another, so some glacier features that we're going to talk about are going to be, one is going to be an ice fall. So ice fall is kind of like a waterfall, except it's just a frozen waterfall. So when a glacier hits a steep cliff and goes off, but it is still frozen. Another feature of glaciers is going to be crevices. So crevices are going to be these inline ridge-like structures. You can see the mountain climbers going over a crevice over here. So it's a deep fissure or crack in the ice. Glacial movement occurs when gravity causes glacier to flow. And this is going to be downhill, right? Because gravity pulls you down. If the melting ice is faster than the glacier, snow replacing the glacier, building it up, then we're going to say that the glacier is retreating. Doesn't mean it's moving back in the sense of the word. It just means that it's melting at the bottom a lot faster than snow is being deposited on top. If the ice builds up more quickly or the snow is falling a lot faster and building the glacier a lot faster, then the glacier is said to be advancing. So here I have a couple of videos that I'd like you to see. The first one is this one over here. It doesn't have any sound. So we can see that here is a glacier and it is slowly moving forward. So there's a lot of snow being deposited, and this is an advancing glacier. You can see that it's growing in size. Now, when you see that it is melting a lot faster than the deposition up here, you call it a retreating glacier. It's no longer advancing now, it's actually retreating. So I'm going to pause it. You can go ahead and go more in detail with it. Here's another time lapse of how glaciers tend to move.
Like a river.
There's another one right here. So at first you can see that here is the cutoff. So here's the glaciers. Once it comes here, it starts to melt, all right? But after some time, you can see that it's starting to melt a lot faster. So it's actually retreating. After some time, like if I fast forward the video, you can see that it's actually started to melt over here now in September 2010. So this is definitely a retreating glacier as well. Make sure you understand the difference between retreating and advancing glaciers. Here's another slide on retreating and advancing. So you can see that over time, the snow and ice being deposited on the glacier is a lot more than how much it's melting. You can see that it's growing in size, therefore it's advancing. If you see that it's decreasing in size, you say that it's retreating. Now, glaciers usually cause the landscape to erode. So imagine a glacier, it's really heavy and it starts to slide down. When it is sliding down, it is bringing down with it various sizes of rocks and dirt. In geography, we call these various sizes of rocks till. So it's moving till down the land and it's eroding the land. It's dragging things off the land as it moves down. So glacier erosions, when they advance or retreat, they move land and rocks underneath, creating specific features across the landscape. And you can see this picture over here. The glacier is coming down and it's chipping away at the land underneath, dragging the rocks with it. And we're going to call those rocks till. Some land, the ones that we're going to, there are lots of different types of landforms that are made when glaciers retreat. We're going to focus on the four that you see here: a kettle lake, an esker, a moraine, and a drumlin. First, I'm going to start with a moraine. A moraine occurs when the glacier is coming down, it's dragging all that till down, and it starts to melt at the bottom. And the melting can be due to increase in temperature down here, for example. Now, when it starts to melt, it leaves a mound or a little hill of this till of the rocks. We call that a moraine. So if you look at this picture on the bottom right hand corner, you see this over here. This is when the glacier came down and it melted and it left behind all the rocks deposit, the till. This is called a moraine. Moraine come in different kinds. We're not going to go into detail of it. We just need you to understand and be able to identify if we give you a picture of what is a moraine. Now, once the moraine is formed, let's say the glacier starts to advance and then eventually come back down. If the moraine is there and the glacier comes down and starts to come down again, the new ice comes down again, what it does is it chips away at the mound of the moraine. So if I was to draw that into picture, so over here, I'm going to take that over here. Let's say I have some glacier, okay, that is coming down. So here in the middle, you see this is my glacier coming down. When it reaches the bottom over here, it has formed or it has melted and has left behind this deposit of rock, okay? And this deposit of rock over here, due to the retreating glacier, is known as a moraine. So this is a moraine. I'm going to put an M for moraine. Now, after some time, let's say that the snow starts to build on my glacier again, and my glacier starts to move down once again. Now, when it moves down and it hits this already built mound of moraine, it starts to chip away at it. It starts to break it up. So if I was to bring it over here, here's the moraine. All right. And then the coming glacier is going to come, the ice is going to come, it's going to drag, and it's going to chip away at my moraine. It is going to take the little bits of pieces of rock and it's going to drag them over. Okay. And it's going to make this into a sharp curve and this into a little bit of a flatter curve. When you see the till being deposited this way, now it's going to be called a drumlin. All right, this is going to be a drumlin. So let's take a look at this video over here. It's also in your PowerPoint. So you see that it's coming down. All right, here I already have a moraine. I already have some deposited till, and the new glacier comes down and it starts to hit against this moraine. And what's going to happen is it's going to build up the rock, and then it's going to slide that rock over to the other side. Now, when it starts to slide this rock over and it starts to build this really smooth curve right here, you see how it's jagged over here? This is now called a drumlin. It's no longer a moraine. It's called a drumlin. Right? So hopefully that helped a little bit understanding what is the difference between a moraine and a drumlin. Then comes an esker. An esker occurs when, so if I go back here to my paint and I see this, okay? Now eskers happen when I have my glacier, it's moving down, all right? And it hits some sort of a stoppage. So something is stopping my glacier from moving forward. So it comes and stops right here. When it comes and stops right here, what it does is it deposits the rock here. All right. Now, eventually over time, the rock is going to get deposited in a fashion like this. All right, so I'm going to take a different color from here, and I'm going to say that here my rock, it's hit some sort of a stoppage, and now it's depositing a rock in this fashion, in the straight line. When it deposits rock in the straight lines, my line's not straight, it's kind of it's a bit spread out, so I'm going to try to erase it, and I'm going to try to fix it for you. So here, now this purple that you see here, till deposited in a straight line, this is called an esker. All right, so if I go back to my picture over here, and I try to identify, I'm going to try to make it a little bit bigger, I can see these long till deposits are the eskers. These mounds over here are the moraine. And the drumlins are when you have a moraine and you have another glacier coming and it chips away and it forms these, are called the drumlins. All right, so we have a couple of other videos here for you to take a look at how drumlins and moraines are formed. Last but not least, glacier meltwater. So meltwater is the runoff once the glacier starts melting. It's an excellent source of fresh water, and it is a large source of fresh water, especially in Alberta. Global warming, what is happening due to the increase in greenhouse gases, it's leading heat to be trapped in, and that trapped heat is causing evaporation to increase, and we are losing a lot of fresh water that way. Here you see a picture of a glacier, and global warming has caused the glacier to melt. So here's another video that Bill Nye has on what happens when glacier starts to melt. Flooding is a big problem. If you remember a few days ago, you must have heard in the news about Fort McMurray and how ice caps stopped the ice from advancing, causing the water to build up and flood a lot of Fort McMurray. 13,000 people had to be evacuated for close to, I believe, 2 weeks now. All right, something for you to think about. All right, once again, topic 2, I will go post topic 3 on Friday. We will have our topic 1, 2, 3 quiz next week. Make sure that you are doing Hangouts or Google Meets with myself or Miss Lynn. Inshallah, you're having a good Ramadan.